Executive Chairman NALSA and the Honorable Chief Minister of Telangana, Honorable Sri A. Revanth Reddy Garu, and my Lords, Honorable Sri Justice Sujay Pal Garu, Acting Chief Justice for the State of Telangana and Patron-in-Chief of Telangana State Legal Service Authority, and Honorable Sri Justice P. Samkoshi Garu, Judge, High Court for the State of Telangana and Executive Chairman of SALSA, and other Honorable Judges of the High Court and other dignitaries, a very good morning. I, Panchakshri, Member Secretary, Telangana State Legal Service Authority, on behalf of all the 4 departments, I welcome you to this consultation meet. The dignitaries of the dais, participants present over here who have graced the occasion, ladies and gentlemen, to the city of pearls and a historic and culturally rich metropolis, Hyderabad. We are deeply honored to have among us a galaxy of distinguished dignitaries whose presence today elevates the significance of this occasion. May I now invite our today's chief guest, Honorable Sri Justice Suryakant Garu, Judge, Supreme Court of India and Executive Chairman, National Legal Service Authority, to kindly grace the dais. I request Sri D. Kiran Kumar Garu, Secretary DLSA, to escort the Honorable Suryakant Garu. Now I humbly invite today's our guest of honor, Honorable Sri A. Revanth Reddy Garu, Chief Minister of Telangana State, to kindly adorn the dais, and I request M.A. Javed Pasha Garu to kindly conduct our esteemed guest. Now I humbly invite today's our guest of honor, Honorable Sri Justice Sujay Pal Garu, Acting Chief Justice, High Court for the State of Telangana and Patron-in-Chief, to kindly adorn the dais, and I request Vikram Garu to conduct our esteemed guest to the dais. Now I humbly request respected Dr. Jitendra, IPS, Director General of Police, Telangana, to kindly join us on the dais. Now I request respected Madam Cynthia McCaffrey, representative of UNICEF India, to kindly take the seat on the dais, and I request Milind Kamble, Secretary, Legal Service Authority, to escort Madam. To begin with, I humbly seek permission of the Honorable Chair to declare the inaugural session as open. Thank you, my Lord. The inaugural session is declared as opened. As a gesture of our heartfelt respect and in recognition of their distinguished service to the nation, we now present saplings to our honorable guests on the dais. To do the honors, I now request Honorable Sri Justice Sujay Pal Garu, Acting Chief Justice of Telangana High Court and Patron-in-Chief of SLSA, to kindly present a sapling to Honorable Mr. Justice Suryakant, Judge, Supreme Court of India. Sapling. Ivama. May I now request Honorable Justice Moushmi Bhattacharya Madam, Judge, High Court for the State of Telangana, to present a sapling. No, Sorry, Milord. I request Honorable Sri Justice P. Samkoshi Garu, Judge, High Court for the State of Telangana, to present a sapling to Honorable Sri Justice A. Revanth Reddy Garu. Sorry, Milord. Honorable A. Revanth Reddy Garu, Chief Minister of Telangana State. May I now request Honorable Madam Justice Moushmi Bhattacharya Madam to present a sapling to Honorable Sri Justice Sujay Pal Garu, Acting Chief Justice, High Court for the State of Telangana. May I now request Ms. Charu Sinha Madam, Additional DGP CID, Women Safety Wing, to present a sapling to Sri Dr. Jitendra IPS, DGP Telangana. Now I request Sri Dr. Jalalam B. Tafassi, Chief Field of Office, to kindly present a sapling to Madam Cynthia Mcrhrdle, representative of UNICEF India. Now I request all the dignitaries present on and off the dais and the esteemed guests, participants and everyone present in this auditorium to kindly rise for national song Vande Mataram. Thank you, my lords. Thank you. May I now request Madam Cynthia Mcrhrdle, representative of UNICEF India, to kindly deliver the welcome address. Madam, please.
Honorable Justice Suryakant, Judge Supreme Court of India, Shri Reddy, Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Justice Paul, Acting Chief Justice of the High Court of Telangana, Dr. Jitendra, Director General of Telangana Police, all representatives distinguished from the Judiciary Government of Telangana, all stakeholders, namaskar. On behalf of UNICEF India, it is truly our honor to join you today at this landmark event that demonstrates the highest regard with which Telangana holds the protection of children's rights and well-being. And let me begin with this simple quote: "Justice is not served until it reaches the last woman standing in the queue." These are not words from an international convention. These are words written by Savitribai Phule, a charismatic social reformer of India who promoted girls' education and women's rights in the 19th century. And just this month, on July 2nd, the National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development was renamed Savitribai Phule National Institute of Women and Children Development, that recognizes the incredible leadership that India has had for women and children's rights. So it's long before any international conventions or international law that Phule gave us the accountability and the responsibility to defend those who are in the most need of their rights in even the hardest times. And India has stood at the helm, recognizing and also creating frameworks that are not just the minimum standard for children's rights, but constantly looking at how to ever expand the effort for children's rights and making sure that you're building a society that is a model across India, but also for the globe, to create a place where children can survive safely, but also to thrive and dream their dreams and reach their aspirations. So that's why it is particularly an honor to be here and to welcome all of us as we sit together with those of you who are creating the legal frameworks, and also those of you on the front lines, the first responders, police, judges, prosecutors, the social workers, counselors, our child line functionaries, civil society, families and communities themselves, who are meeting and trying to respond to difficult cases that help children to survive but also rehabilitate and thrive. Let me emphasize the following points as we think about the next 2 days. Foundation. The Convention on the Rights of the Child is the most ratified convention in the world. It is a marker of global cooperation that we are here to protect children's rights and their well-being. And protecting them from violence, protecting them to be safe, is a bedrock, a cornerstone of all their other rights. If a child is safe, then we are able to build on that, their health, their nutrition, their education. And then with that, they can grow resiliently. And so can nations around the world. Second, obligation. When we think about that foundation of rights, it reminds us that a child's rights is not a nice thing to do or a charitable thing. It's our obligation, it's our responsibility. And it's the whole of society that has to do it. It's cross-disciplinary. As we will talk about more and more today, sexual violence is pervasive globally. And it's harmful in many ways and for many reasons, including some deeply entrenched social norms. And so how do we work together to create that social power and change the social dynamics that enable children, and particularly those marginalized children, especially girls, to be able to have those rights? And at the same time, how do we look at the types of barriers that you're looking at every day that helps ensure disclosure and justice for individuals at every level, in every aspect, institutional and societal? I've talked about these prevalence. So what does that mean? As we look at India, some of the figures, if we look at NFHS 5 data from 2019 to 2021, almost 40% of women, 39% of women across India between the ages of 25 and 49 report having had sexual contact before the age of 18. Within that age group, 10% report having had sexual contact before the age of 15. In addition, India, and this state, is not just looking at the present challenges, but we're also looking at upcoming challenges like the internet, which creates opportunities, but it's also creating a global market for child sexual abuse materials and nefarious opportunities. So that is our foundation, obligation, and the third is demonstration. Demonstrating that we can make change. And India has demonstrated how to make change through its strong legal and policy frameworks that protect children from sexual offenses online and offline. And it's commendable what India has done as we look at services that provide to survivors special courts, legal aid, support persons, one-stop centers, and other services that help rehabilitate children. And they build on strong foundations that we see in the Ministry of Women and Child Development through Shakti and Vatsalya missions. This demonstrates India's commitment, but also building these strong foundations and meeting its obligations for children. I'm glad to be here because I've had the opportunity to talk directly about Bharosa centers by the Telangana Women's Safety Wing, the SHE teams, the Bal Raksha Bhavans of all child protection services coming under one roof, converged in one place, which is what children need. The efforts made in Hyderabad to issue identity certificates, Aadhaar, caste, disability, to all children wherever they are, care institutions, and all of these initiatives that build child protection across the state. My fourth is steadfast action. It's important to demonstrate what we're doing, but at the same time, how do we continue to expand action and the care journey that's necessary for a child so that they have professional restorative help throughout their journey. December 19th has been declared the Day of Prevention of and Healing from Child Sexual Abuse. It calls for 3 actions, and I put them on the table for our discussions in the days ahead. First is strong legislation that meet global standards, that can be a model and can be steadfast. India, I'm happy to note, and as I've said, has done so. Second is a call for strong child protection systems with adequate resources. And we're seeing that as we look at Mission Vatsalya and Shakti. December 19th also calls for supplementing that from states. And we're seeing that here in this state. How do you make sure you complement from all levels those strong child systems? And 3, December 19th calls for attention to working with communities. And here I would say it's worth our extra attention. We have to be where children live, learn, and play in order to protect them. Because in order to really make a change, we want to change some of the societal norms. And the greatest part of justice is prevention in the first place. So strengthening those investments in working with communities, working at the sub-district level that allows children to be seen when they're at risk, early detection, investing in things like teaching children about safety, creating child-friendly spaces that allows them to speak up about violence they may be experiencing. And all this helps to break silence and the stigma. Closer to communities also means it's easier to talk with adolescents who are often at a crossroads, and being able to talk to adolescents, giving them education that gives them agency, as well as the ability to make informed decisions. Comprehensive reproductive health can help bridge those gaps, and India is making great strides as it's working through the Government of India's School of Health and Wellness program under Ayushman Bharat. These are very important practical interventions that make a difference. And I commend the Women in Safety Wing of the Telangana Police, which is taking these actions in similar strides. My 5th is partnership. UNICEF is very happy to be here, looking and working with partners like all of you. UNICEF works with government at the national level and at the state level in order to engage stakeholders, in order to help build capacity of workforce, those on the front lines, in order to help build systems that rehabilitate survivors and genuinely bring technical support that can help create child-friendly procedures, child-friendly spaces, and engage communities. So with that, I'd like to just reiterate the 5 points that I hope we build on here, and that UNICEF is committed to, not just rattling off and saying we do these things, but how do we expand them even further and bring the lessons that the state is proving here across India, but also how does UNICEF take that globally and help protect children around the world. So building the dreams into reality. The foundation, our obligations to meet that, demonstration, steadfast action, and genuine partnership together. And I think Dr. Ambedkar, he summed it up best when he said it is not enough to dream of a better world, one must work tirelessly to make it a reality. So thank you to all of you who work tirelessly to make it a reality.
Thank you, Madam, for the warm welcome address. May I now request Sri Dr. Jitender IPS, DGP Telangana, to address the participants. Sir, please.
Honorable guests for today's conference for ensuring justice, rehabilitation and reintegration for child victims, strengthening POCSO and child protection ecosystems. Honorable Justice Shri Surya Kanji, Judge Supreme Court of India and Executive Chairman, National Legal Services Authority. Honorable Shri A. Revanth Reddy Garu, Chief Minister of Telangana State. Honorable Justice Sujay Paul, Acting Chief Justice, High Court of State of Telangana and Patron in Chief, Telangana State Legal Services Authority. Cynthia Mcrhrdla, representative of UNICEF in India. All the Honorable Justices of Telangana High Court, members of Judiciary, esteemed dignitaries, police and other government officials, civil rights experts, representatives of civil society and development partners, especially Ms. Charu Sinha, Chief of Women's Safety of Telangana Police, and Ms. Anita, Secretary for Women and Child Welfare Department, and all boys and girls, good morning. It is a privilege to be part of national platform that brings together key stakeholders committed to child protection and justice delivery under POCSO Act, Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act. At the outset, I extend my warm greetings to all the participants and commend the efforts of Judiciary, Women's Safety Wing of Telangana, Women and Child Welfare of Government of Telangana in organizing this critical and timely conference. POCSO Act and the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act are most significant legislations in this country towards child safety and dignity. Yet more than a decade after this enactment, we still face real challenges on the ground. Some challenges are like delays in trials, high rates of witness withdrawal, inadequate convergence between the systems, and most importantly, the risk of re-traumatizing the child while seeking justice. Conference rightly places its focus on rehabilitation and reintegration, not as secondary aspects but as central pillars of the justice process. In Telangana, we have tried to respond to these gaps through a unique systemic innovation that Bharosa Centers. It was established in Telangana and now it is scaled to 29 operational centers as one-stop crisis response and integrated support system for survivors of rape and child sex abuse. It brings together police, legal, medical and psychological services under one roof, away from police stations and hospitals as is evidently required by the POCSO Act. Every center has a dedicated child-friendly counseling room with age-appropriate material toys, visual tools and calm spaces to reduce fear and anxiety among the victims. Child psychologists and counselors trained in child-specific communication methods as well as medical and paramedical support persons provide key roles during this BNSS statement, medical examinations and helping investigating officers elicit trauma-informed disclosures. Dedicated support persons and legal support staff ensure that child and family are not left to navigate the justice system alone. An enabling ecosystem for POCSO should not be an isolated initiative. It is just enabler for the justice. We now operate one of the country's most advanced child-friendly courtrooms, facilitated through Hyderabad Bharosa Center, where children can depose without entering into so-called intimidating courtrooms environment. Does not have to confront the accused and feel free as well as confident. This is being scaled across all the districts in the state of Telangana. Convergence between Bharosa and juvenile justice system, including CWCs, DCPWs, JJBs and the courts, should grow further to become a comprehensive model for interagency collaboration. We have built strong referral system, fast-tracked it, medico-legal processes and ensured timely access to victim compensation as well as established an emergency victim assistance fraud. Despite its progressive framework, the juvenile justice system continues to face some challenges. The convergence between juvenile justice boards, CWCs, police and support services often lacks consistency and structure. Delays in rehabilitation planning, weak legal aid and inconsistent application of child-friendly procedures contribute to gaps in justice delivery process. Additionally, limited access to psychological counseling and slow victim compensation processes hinder full reintegration of child into the society. Observation and children home often are regarded as operating under suboptimal conditions, poor hygiene, lack of medical personnel, inadequate security and limited educational or vocational support. Many homes lack trained staff and structured rehabilitation pathways, leading to emotional disengagement and increased risk of absconding. Weak admission documentation and monitoring systems further compromise child safety and traceability. To strengthen synergy between POCSO framework and juvenile justice system, joint operating procedures and streamlined referral mechanisms must be institutionalized. Cross-departmental trainings involving CWCs, JJBs, police and child welfare staff are essential. Dedicated rehabilitation tracking should ensure continuity of care, rescue to long-term integration. Infrastructure and HR upgradation in CWCs and JJBs along with monitoring indicators for timeless and child sensitivity are critical. Confidential data sharing and prioritizing children's voices and trauma recovery reaffirm that justice includes hearing and dignity, not the conviction. Let the conference be a platform not just for deliberation but for commitment. Let us together reaffirm that justice for children is not just about conviction rates but about restoration, safety and healing. State of Telangana under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister is committed to strengthening the Bharosa model further and sharing our learnings to contribute to national and state frameworks. We welcome collaboration, innovation and shared vision for all present here. Let us all be together and take care of life and dignity of all people who deserve it. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your special address on this inaugural session. I now request Honorable Mr. Justice Sujaypal Garu, Acting Chief Justice, High Court for the State of Telangana and Patron-in-Chief, Telangana State Legal Service Authority to kindly illuminate us with your Honor's special address.
Honorable Shri Justice Suryakant Ji, Judge Supreme Court of India and Executive Chairman National Legal Services Authority, New Delhi, Honorable Chief Minister Shri A. Revant Reddy, my esteemed colleagues present in the auditorium, the Learned Advocate General, Learned Additional Advocate General, the Shri Jitender IPS Director General of Police, Telangana State, Miss Santhya Mcrhrdla, Representative of UNICEF, Ms. Charu Sinha IPS, Srimati Anita Ramchandran IAS, Secretary Women Development and Child Welfare Department, Shri Panchakshri Member Secretary, the resource persons, the stakeholders from different departments. Very good morning and welcome to all of you to this very important meet today, where we would like to discuss frankly about the issues before us so that we can come to a conclusion. But before coming to that, I would like your attention on the very, very relevant data which will show us the picture regarding POCSO matters. In December 20, the pending cases in Telangana regarding POCSO were 5267. In December 21, it became 6828. In December 22, it became 10,589. Comparing from December 20, when it was 5267, in December 22, within 2 years, it became almost double, 10,589. In January 23, it was 10,605, and at present data is available up to October 24, where the figure was 8308. This alarming increase is only one aspect of which causes worry. The another aspect and the another data which is more alarming, which is more dangerous, is that 98% accused are either family members, relatives, friends or neighbors. And therefore, in such a situation, a child victim who is subjected to sexual abuse, it is very difficult to withstand the social pressure, and in most of the cases our experience is that that victim turns hostile because of the family and social pressure. In that event, what is very important to record conviction and stop this is the scientific evidence, the other circumstantial evidence. And therefore, the idea to bring everybody under one roof, that every stakeholder, the education, the police, the health department, the R&B, everybody who is taking care, who is the stakeholder, should be under one roof so that we can identify the issues and solve the problems. I'll give a very small example, that when a child enters a school, her or his name is registered in admission register, we sometimes called as Dakhil Kharij register. A small overwriting in date of birth in that school register can give benefit to the accused if at later point of time that child is subjected to any sexual abuse. Likewise, as I said, that scientific evidence in cases of Pocso are very important. Now the Government of India has come up with a complete protocol of DNA, how to procure a sample, how to keep a sample, in which temperature it is to be kept, what is the shelf life, what is to be taken care of. And there is a judgment of Supreme Court on that, if I correctly remember, authored by Honorable Justice Bela Trivedi. The entire chain, the time from where the sample was taken and how it travels to the FSL and then how the report is prepared, this entire chain needs to be established meticulously. And even one break of chain anywhere ultimately gives benefit to the accused. A checklist can be prepared so that all these possibilities can be eradicated. These are very sensitive issues, because ultimately victim is a person about which the organizers have rightly given the name, that it is a conference for giving voice for the voiceless. So what my understanding is that in all these technical sessions where the experts and resource persons will address you, please feel free to tell you about your problems in your department which you are facing, and please interact with the resource persons, please interact with the other departments. I'll give a small example of a similar conference in my parent state. A young lady constable stood up in a session and she said that when we take the victim, the child with their parents after the sexual abuse to the hospital, we are required to wait for 5 hours, sometimes for 6 hours, because the doctor is busy elsewhere. And it is such a traumatic thing for that small child and their family members that sometimes the family members withdraw their consent for the medical checkup. We discussed it in the conference, and the head of the medical department stood up and he said that from Monday itself we will prepare a roster where in every hospital a dedicated doctor will be there, whose first responsibility will be to take care of and attend that child. So these are small things, but this makes a difference how we treat the child, how we give her an atmosphere, and how sensitive we are. And therefore I'll request all of you that when a file comes before you as a judge, or file comes before you in a FIR before a police station, or a file comes as a doctor before you, please remember that the word file and life has same letters, LIFE and FILE, and every file has a life within it. And therefore this session was rightly called as Voice for Voiceless. I'll end with the request that everybody should deal this matter, these aspects, with utmost sensitivity. A poet said, अपना गम लेकर कहीं और न जाया जाए, अपना गम लेकर कहीं और न जाया जाए, घर में बिखरी हुई चीजों को सजाया जाए, घर से मस्जिद है बहुत दूर चलो यूं कर लें, घर से मस्जिद है बहुत दूर चलो यूं कर लें, किसी रोते हुए बच्चे को हंसाया जाए. Take your sorrow somewhere and don't let it be seen. Let's arrange these scattered things in the house. The place of worship is far from home. Let's take a walk. Let's make a crying child laugh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my lord, for the inspiring and thought-provoking special address on this occasion. May I now request Honorable Sri A. Revant Reddy Garu, the Chief Minister of Telangana State, to deliver special address. Sir, please.
Honorable Sri Justice Surya Kant, Judge, Supreme Court of India, and Executive Chairman, National Legal Services Authority, Honorable Sri Justice Sujay Paul, Acting Chief Justice, High Court of State of Telangana, and Patron-in-Chief, State Legal Services Authority. Respected members of Judiciary, senior police officers, women and child department officials, legal services experts, UNICEF, civil society and development partners. I welcome you to this state level conference. The theme, Voice for the Voiceless, is very important for our society. I congratulate the Telangana Police and other organizers for holding this conference. We must put child survivors at the center of our legal and moral framework in fighting this heinous crime against humanity. We have to protect our children from sexual abuse at any cost and with all means. My government gives top priority to the protection of children and women. Telangana Bharosa project has 29 centers. It provides police support, legal aid, medical assistance, and counseling in a friendly environment. Telangana pioneered child-friendly courts run by Hyderabad Bharosa Center. The goal is not just faster cases disposal, but total child protection and development. POCSO Act and Juvenile Justice Act are highly progressive instruments in our legal framework, but they come with problems. We must ensure procedure help child victims, not hurt them. We must also end child pornography and impose strict punishments. Social media abuse of children must also be treated without mercy for culprits. Our state government is fully ready to take all steps. We must ensure justice and compassion for children not only in courts but also at police station, child centers, and in every step of this process. I appeal to all of you, respected judges, police officers, CWCs, development partners, let us move forward with a shared mission. Justice is not just about conviction. It is about restoration, about dignity, and reclaiming childhood. Thank you. Jai Telangana.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable message and the steps being taken by the Telangana state government. It is time to hear our today's chief guest, Honorable Sri Justice Surya Kant, Judge, Supreme Court of India. My Lord, please.
Shri A. Revant Reddy, Honorable Chief Minister, State of Telangana, Justice Sujay Paul, Honorable Chief Justice in Action, High Court of State of Telangana, and Patron-in-Chief of the Telangana State Legal Service Authority, Justice Shyam Koshi, Executive Chairman of the State Legal Service Authority, Telangana, my distinguished sister and brother judges of the Telangana High Court, Dr. Jitendra, IPS, Director General of Police State of Telangana, Ms. Cynthia Mcrhrdla, representative of the UNICEF India chapter, Learned Advocate General of State of Telangana, Member Secretary Mr. Mcrhrdla of the National Legal Service Authority, Member Secretary of the State Legal Service Authority and other my dear judicial officers, very senior officers of the police department, senior administrative functionaries of the state government who are present here. We also have among us Mr. Santhan Krishnan, Life President of the Commonwealth Lawyers Association, distinguished dignitaries, jurists, statesmen, police officers, social workers, ladies and gentlemen, friends from media. When Honorable Chief Justice cited a very emotional nazm of Nida Fazli, I immediately recollected Maria Montessori, a very celebrated pedagogue, and what she said about child. I quote her, "It is the child who makes the man, and no man exists who was not made by the child he once was." I think this statement communicates everything with respect to a very serious issue which we intend to deliberate in this one-day conference. These words of Montessori also remind me that the well-being of our children is not merely a moral obligation, it is the foundation upon which all of society is built. The child is not just our future, they are our mirror, our responsibility, and our greatest test. Today, as I stand before you, I cannot help but echo the statement of Montessori, because I am of the firm view that if we fail our children, we are not only failing them, we are failing the very soul of our nation. I therefore wish to applaud the distinguished speakers who have preceded me. Their remarks have incisively addressed many of the urgent and layers challenges in the realm of child protection. I find myself in strong agreement with the issues that Cynthia has raised, or Honorable Chief Justice and Honorable Chief Minister have raised. I see it as both a duty and a privilege to build upon those reflections by offering a perspective grounded in constitutional values, judicial insight, and our shared moral responsibility to the children of this great nation. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for the untiring efforts of the Women's Safety Wing of the Telangana State Police and the Telangana State Legal Service Authority in organizing this event with exceptional commitment and vigor. I also commend the United Nations Children's Fund, Madam Cynthia representing, whose pioneering work in uplifting child across the globe is undoubtedly unparalleled. This conference, I believe, is a concerted attempt to confront the silent suffering of the most vulnerable among us, our children. Even today they remain most susceptible to neglect, abuse and exploitation. And in a country like ours, where their numbers are staggering, the stakes are even higher. I rely upon the UNICEF 2024 report according to which 24% of the India's population is under the age of 14. 1 in 3 Indians is below the age of 18. This amounts to over 345 million children, more than the total population of many continents. These figures, while astonishing, are not merely statistical marvels, they are a moral reckoning. For a nation so young, our greatest asset could also too easily become our gravest liability if we fail to protect, nurture and invest in our children. Potential does not convert to progress on its own. It requires systems, safety and sustained care. Each child we fail is not just a personal tragedy, but a lost thread in the fabric of our nation's future. This demographic reality places upon us an extraordinary responsibility, one that cannot be met with token gestures or fragmented responses. Every act of abuse, every moment of neglect must be seen not as an aberration, but as a collective failure. If we neglect our children, we forfeit the very future we hope to build. We must consequently confront what we are often too afraid to name, the child sex abuse. Make no mistake, this crime does not occur only in dark alleyways or distant corners. As Honorable Chief Justice rightly pointed out, it happens within homes, schools, neighborhoods and institutions. Places we instinctively consider safe, it is a violation that hides in plain sight. And it is not only a criminal act, it's a betrayal of trust, of childhood and of the constitutional promise to protect our most vulnerable. It makes a grave failure of our collective guardianship, and if I can say, it's also a failure of the state's parents-patria responsibility. What makes this abuse especially heinous is that its harm runs far deeper than physical injury. Its wounds are often invisible but lifelong. Fractured self-worth, chronic anxiety, depression, PTSD, and tragically, you must have seen sometimes even suicide also. But the long-term damage goes even further. Research increasingly shows that children who suffer such trauma are more likely to become withdrawn, economically marginalized, or emotionally unstable adults. Worse still, there is the risk that some may perpetuate the very cycles of abuse that once endured. These are the outcomes no enlightened society can afford to ignore, and therefore we need to be overconscious about it. The law is enacted, of course. We have the 2012 Act, which is a very robust legislation. It brought a long overdue legal overhaul, which is gender neutral, comprehensive and child sensitive. It recognized perhaps for the first time that the justice system must be adapted to the child, not the other way around. But a law is not only as strong as its implementation. Special courts remain unevenly distributed. Police forces are often undertrained in trauma-informed investigation. Schools rarely speak about consent, autonomy or safety. And even in judiciary too, we are insufficiently sensitized to the unique vulnerabilities of the child victims. In light of these realities, the path forward must be carefully and compassionately charted. There is where the agenda of this conference becomes so vital. As a lifelong student of law, I have experienced firsthand how even well-meaning systems often place disproportionate emphasis on punishing the perpetrator, while the child, whose life has been irreversibly altered, is left unheard, unsupported, and often re-traumatized by the very mechanisms meant to help. Justice becomes synonymous with conviction instead of recovery. If some of you will recollect, in 2014 onwards, I have been speaking about invisible victims of system, and that is what precisely I meant to say. Consider the case of a 10-year-old made to recount her trauma repeatedly. Before whom? To a teacher, a police officer, a medical examiner, a lawyer, and then a judge. With each retelling, her voice grows fainter until it vanishes altogether. This cannot be called justice. It is distress compounded by process. When the system forgets the child in its pursuit of the accused, it fails them both. This imbalance is not incidental, it is structural. That is why the focus on rehabilitation at this conference is both timely and necessary. Our child protection framework, though well-intentioned, remain disjointed and under-equipped. What we need is a fundamental shift, one that sees the child not as a passive witness in a criminal trial, but as a person in urgent need of sustained and holistic care. True justice for a child begins not in the courtroom, but in the moment they feel safe and secured within and outside the four walls. It begins in the hands of a counselor, the embrace of a caregiver, and the assurance that they will not have to walk alone. Reintegration must not be an afterthought. It must be the foundation of our response. Because a child's healing is not just a legal requirement, it's a moral obligation. And in this context, and knowing the Indian, our societal background, it is a constitutional commitment also. As we look to the path ahead, one truth becomes abundantly clear. The task of protecting and supporting child victims is far too important to be left to the legal system alone. Not only is it a responsibility of the judiciary, police or social workers, it is in fact a collective national duty. Every institution, every stakeholder, and indeed every citizen has a role to play in creating an ecosystem where children are safe, heard and helped. We must move away from reactive justice to a more proactive, compassionate model where rehabilitation is not a footnote but the foundation. In this regard, I would be remiss not to acknowledge and commend the pioneers' efforts initiated in the state of Telangana and particularly in the city of Hyderabad. As the Director General of Police explained, the Bharosa centers here have really emerged as a model of what integrated, victim-centric support should look like. By offering a one-stop facility where child and women victims of violence can access police assistance, legal aid, medical care and psychological counseling under one roof, these centers exemplify what sensitive and holistic justice delivery should aspire to be. They demonstrate that with the right vision and commitment, it is possible to ease the child's journey through the justice system, minimizing the pain and agony and maximizing the care. Similar appreciation is due to the NALSA's novel child-friendly legal service scheme of 2024, which envisions a trauma-informed, child rights-driven ecosystem. It is not only ensures courtroom dignity but the provision of psychological care and compensation to the victim. It is my earnest appeal that such best practices be assimilated and adapted across the length and breadth of the country. Whether it is the level of the state policy, institutional design, or community intervention, we must commit to replicating and scaling such models. Let us therefore take inspiration from what has worked and build upon it, ensuring that no child anywhere in India is left to navigate trauma alone. In doing so, we not only uphold the letter of the law, but the spirit of our Constitution, which promises every child the right to dignity, safety, and opportunity. I would like to conclude at this juncture by briefly alluding to the words of a stalwart of human rights, Nelson Mandela, who once rightly said, and I quote, "There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children." Ladies and gentlemen, our work is far from complete until our children experience meaningful, restorative justice, where the systems meant to protect them do not re-traumatize, and where their healing is prioritized outside along with accountability. This conference has brought together a range of voices, legal minds, administrators, caregivers, jurists, and protectors united by a common purpose. But beyond the deliberations and draft recommendations, that's my humble submission, we must take back with us a renewed sense of moral urgency. Laws, however well written, are only as effective as the compassion with which they are implemented. Systems, however well structured, are only as just as the people who operate them. Strengthening the POCSO framework and child protection ecosystems will require vigilance, innovation, and above all, empathy at every level. Let this conference, therefore, mark a turning point not only in the policy but in a national consciousness. Let us vow that no child will be made to feel that their pain is a footnote or that their dignity is conditional. Let us make our nation not merely compliant with law but radiant with justice, for it is in the safety of our children that the soul of our republic truly lives. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, my Lord, for enlightening us on different aspects and need for the POCSO Act and enriching us with words of wisdom, which I am assured that they will guide us in the days to come. Indeed, it is a distinct honor and a privilege to have amongst us Honorable the Judge, Supreme Court of India, and the Executive Chairman, National Legal Service Authority, whose august presence has illuminated today's consultation meet on the topic of voice for the voiceless and rights and protection of children of sexual abuse. We would like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude by felicitating the dignitaries on the dais for their generosity and kindness in gracing this occasion. For this, I humbly request Honorable Sri Justice Sujay Paul, Acting Chief Justice High Court for the State of Telangana and Patron-in-Chief Telangana State Legal Service Authority, to kindly honor His Lordship Honorable Mr. Justice Suryakant, Judge, Supreme Court of India, and Executive Chairman, National Legal Service Authority, with a shawl and a memento. Thank you, my Lord, for accepting the felicitation. Now, I humbly request Honorable Sri Justice P. Sam Koshi, Judge, High Court for the State of Telangana and Executive Chairman, Telangana State Legal Services Authority, to kindly honor our Honorable Sri A. Revanth Reddy Garu, Chief Minister, Telangana State, with a shawl and a memento. may now humbly request Honorable Srimati Justice Maushmi Bhattacharya Madam, Judge, High Court for the State of Telangana, to kindly honor our Honorable Sri Justice Sujaypal Garu, Acting Chief Justice, High Court for the State of Telangana, with a shawl and memento. Thank you, my lord. Now I humbly request Ms. Charu Sinha, Additional DGP, CID, Women Safety Wing, Hyderabad, to kindly felicitate Sri Dr. Jitendra IPS, DGP Telangana, with a shawl and memento. Now I humbly request Sri Dr. Zelalam B. Tafassi to kindly honor Madam Cynthia McCaffrey, representative of UNICEF India, with a shawl and memento. Thank you, madam. With this, we have arrived towards the end of the inaugural session, and before winding up, I would like to request Srimati Srijana, Women Development and Child Welfare, Telangana State, to kindly propose vote of thanks. Please, ma'am.
Namaskar to every dignitary, guest and participant gathered here. Today, we stand united by a cause that transcends profession, politics and power, protecting the innocence of our children and giving them a safe childhood. On behalf of the Telangana State Legal Services Authority, Women Safety Wing, Department of Women Child Development and UNICEF, I express our deepest gratitude to Honorable Justice Suryakant Garu, whose presence reaffirms that the highest court of our land remains a steadfast guardian of child rights. We are inspired by the commitment of Honorable Chief Minister Revanth Reddy Garu and the Honorable Acting Chief Justice of Telangana, Sri Sujaypal Garu. Their leadership sends a strong message that justice for our children is not optional. It is urgent and non-negotiable. To DGP, Dr. Jitendra sir and Ms. Cynthia McCaffrey, we are grateful for your voice and your action. Your work reminds us that systems are strengthened when hearts lead the way. To the judges, officials and partners, activists, thank you. You are the architects of change and the silent warriors who protect those who cannot speak. As we step into the technical sessions, may our collective voices echo louder than the silence and our shared action be the bridge between the law and justice. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I seek the permission of the Honorable Chair to declare the inaugural session is closed. Thank you, my lords. The inaugural session is declared closed. I now request all the dignitaries present on and off the dais, all esteemed guests, participants and everyone present in the auditorium and who are witnessing this inaugural session virtually, to kindly rise for national anthem.
Janagana mana adhinayaka jaya he, Bharat bhagya vidhata. Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravida, Utkala, Vanga. Vindhya, Himachala, Yamuna, Ganga, Uchchala, Jaladhi, Taranga. Tava Shubha Name Jage, Tava Shubha Ashish Mange, Gahe Tava Jaya Gatha. Janagana Mangala Dayaka Jaya He, Bharat Bhagya Vidhata. Jaya He, Jaya He, Jaya He, Jaya Jaya.
Thank you, my lords. Lunch is arranged for the participants at Tungabhadra Trupti Hall, and for the VIPs adjacent to this auditorium. I request all the participants to join.